Hey, I'm Jake. I make RPG supplements and Pathfinder 2 videos. We're continuing the Howl of the Wild series with the Thlipit Contestant Archetype. And Thlipit, I think, is supposed to be an onomatopoeia. Because it's all about using your tongue, so I think it's supposed to be the sound of Thlipit. And they just added vowels. According to folklore, the Thlipit martial art began with a wager. Really, martial art? You're flinging your tongue around, people. A group of bored tripkeys looking for a little sport devised a game of using their tongues to gather fruit out of nearby trees. As the competition wore on and the bets escalated, the contestants began snatching falling fruit in midair and even using their tongues to push away the competition. While the names of the original competitors vary between tellings, all agree that the contest ended with a particularly magnificent tongue flick, landing an overripe mango squarely upon a losing bettor's head. No matter the origin, variants of the game and the martial art it spawned have become mainstays in Tripkey society. In contrast to other fighting styles, Thlipit doesn't stand on ceremony or rigid discipline. Practitioners refer to themselves as contestants and play off the forms and moves as mere exercises or games. Despite this veneer of frivolity, Thlipit can be just as dangerous in the mouth of an adept as any other weapon in the mouth. Frog people. Thlipit combines fluid movements reminiscent of whip fighting with the leverage of a wrestler's stance. It favors quick smacks, brief grabs, and short throws. Friend, foe, and the contestant themselves always remain in motion. Moves are often exaggerated to play up stylish elements for spectators or lure brash opponents into attacking early. No formal schools exist to teach Thlipit. Many Tripkeys are familiar with the style from childhood games, even if they haven't developed the physicality to be considered a true contestant. Self-directed instruction remains common, though aspiring contestants will seek out veterans and ask to be taken on as apprentices. Even though this sort of self-directed instruction happens frequently, a veteran contestant will still occasionally take on a student or two to pass along particular forms or styles. Though Thlipit originated with Tripkeys, that's just a fun word to say. Though Thlipit originated with Tripkeys, Tripkey migration to Vidrian and other population centers has exposed other peoples to the sport. Most notably, Thlipit has become popular with the recent generation of Iruxi youth, who have adapted it for use with a tail rather than a tongue. Ingenious! Though not every move is possible with a tail, they have added their own innovations to the style. There are feats in here to use your tail instead of your tongue. This is a freaking weird-ass but cool archetype. Additional feats. 4th level, lunge. 6th level, slam down. 12th level, crushing slam. Okay, so Thlipit Contestant Dedication. Level 2 feat. Prerequisites. You have a long prehensile tongue or a tail. At the GM's discretion, similar flexible appendages, such as tentacles, can be used to qualify instead. That's what made me like this archetype. Grueling practice has strengthened your tongue or tail or tentacles to the point where it's become a formidable weapon. You gain a Lash melee unarmed attack that is in the flail weapon group, deals 1d4 bludgeoning damage, and has the grapple and reach traits. The attack can be performed with any appendages you used to qualify for this feat. I think witches should be allowed to qualify for this with prehensile hair. Why not? It's like a tendril that lashes out and grips people. That's fine. This should be good for this. Okay. 4th level feat, Fly Swat. Next feat, 4th level, Fly Swat. You've learned the secret of swatting away annoying pests and occasionally getting an easy meal out of it. Your Lash strikes ignore an amount of swarm's resistance to physical damage equal to your level. I like that because it's unique. I haven't seen that anywhere else. If there was somewhere, please tell me. I haven't seen that anywhere else. And I mentioned in another video, swarms can be fucking frightening. The worm that walks does tons of persistent damage. All the damage it does is persistent. I think it was 20-something odd damage. No, it was more than that. It was 30-something persistent damage. Piercing damage. This can help save your life or your party, or you can just use it to get flies. I don't know. Lassoing Lash, 4th level feat. It's 1 action. It's an attack. Prerequisites: trained in athletics. Requirements: the target can't be more than 1 size larger than you. You quickly wrap your lash around an opponent and pull them toward you. Attempt an athletics check against the fortitude DC of a target within your lash's reach. Critical success: you pull the target to any open space adjacent to you. Success: you pull the target to the nearest open space adjacent to you. Critical failure: you misjudge your leverage and fall prone. Special: if you have the Titan Wrestler feat, you can target a creature up to 2 sizes larger than you, or up to 3 sizes larger than you if you're legendary in athletics. This is really nice. It's just... This archetype does a lot of moving people around, and that is really fun and nice, but useful in combat. There's so much you can do by, like, putting people in the way of something. I mean, putting something in the way of people, and, like, helping your allies get closer to heal each other, or protect each other, or get in a formation that is impossible to get flanked in. Next feat, level 6, Powerful Lash, 1 action. You've learned to swing your lash ever faster and in wider arcs. The damage die of your lash increases to 1d6 instead of 1d4, and it gains the sweep trait. Cool. This could also be done with a whip. Like, I'm picturing Indiana Jones doing this stuff. Next feat, level 6, Snap Falling Fruit. It's a reaction. Trigger: you or an ally within reach of your lash is the target of a physical ranged attack. The lash whips around to intercept projectiles. I'll take that arrow on the tongue, thank you. The target gains a +2 circumstance bonus to AC against the triggering attack. If the attack misses, you knock it out of the air. Just, bitch, no, not hitting me or my friends. I love that one, obviously. Level 8 feat, not just because it's funny, but it would actually be quite useful, and it would make you sort of, like, shine in combat, because that's pretty uncommon, that ability. Anyway, next feat, level 8, Levered Swing, 1 action. It's a move action. It has the move trait. Prerequisites: Master in Athletics. You can wrap your lash around a tree branch or railing, then pull yourself where you need to go. Swashbucklers. Choose a solid anchor point within reach of your lash. You fly up to your speed as you pivot around the anchor, ending in an open space where the anchor is still within reach of your lash, like a chandelier or a banister or whatever, rafters. If you don't end your turn in a space you could stand, you fall. This is so cool. Level 8 feat, 1 action, Slurp Up. Unarmed attack, prerequisites: unarmed attack with your tongue. Now, this one specifically only works for your tongue, not a tail. However, it's up to you, the player, and the GM to decide how tentacles count. Are they more like a tail or more like a tongue? Maybe it depends on your character, your origin of that weapon. That's like the only thing that you really have to discuss with the GM at the beginning of this archetype, which is nice. It has very little GM involvement. You can usually just take this. Anyway, Slurp Up, 1 action. You have to have a tongue attack. Your tongue darts out in search of refreshment. Choose a liquid container of up to light bulk within reach of your lash, such as a potion or elixir. The container must be held or in the open, not stowed in a pack or bandolier. If the container is unattended or held by a willing ally, you interact to drink the contents. At range. 'Cause tongue. If the container is held by an unwilling creature, you must succeed on a check using your unarmed attack modifier or thievery modifier against the creature's reflex DC to drink the contents. This adds the attack trait. Like, you can drink your enemy's potions. That's kind of what I might do sometimes as a GM with the third action on an enemy's turn. Like, move, attack, pull out a potion. That's neat. Steal potions from people. And of course, it can just be used to help you heal, so that you're like your healer ally who has the potions doesn't have to walk over to you if you can just grab it yourself. It's a little bit more convenient. Slurp Up isn't really a combat useful power. It's not great, technically speaking, but it's fun and funny, and that would be why you take it. Next feat, level 8, Tail Guard. Reaction. Prerequisites, unarmed attack with your tail. So you can't do this if your unarmed attack is your tongue. Trigger, a creature enters a square that would flank you. Enemies who attempt to stab you in the back will be unhappy to find your lashing tail on guard. Make a melee strike against the triggering creature. If your attack is a critical hit, the movement is disrupted. This strike doesn't count toward your multiple attack penalty, and your multiple attack penalty doesn't apply to this strike. I wish it stopped other manipulate actions, but stopping motion is very useful for protecting other people in your group. Like, this archetype is useful for people who are, I don't know, have a decent AC, or like lots of con, or lots of silly abilities that let them avoid hits or turn crits into regular hits. Anyway, so like I could picture a tank taking this. Tank with a prehensile tongue. Next feat, level 10. Slingshot maneuver. Reaction. Trigger, a willing ally enters a space within your Lash's reach using a move action. You spin your Lash out for your ally to grab onto, giving them a boost to their movement. You move the ally 15 feet into a square of their choice that is within reach of your Lash. If the ally has movement remaining, they can continue their movement after completing the slingshot maneuver. Hell yeah! That's always going to be useful. I mean, okay. It's always something that you should probably take, because it will come up often. It's just helpful in combat. Again, maneuverability matters. You save your friends' actions if you can get them somewhere faster. Next feat, level 12, Reflexive Grapple. One action. You've honed your reflexes so well that your Lash can begin closing around the target as soon as it makes contact. Make a Lash strike. If the strike hits, you can immediately attempt to grapple the target. Both actions count toward your multiple attack penalty, but don't increase your penalty until you've made both attacks. That is very nice. It's a simple efficiency increase. It saves you an action. Next feat, level 14, Spinning Release. 3 actions, mental trait. Requirements, you have a creature grabbed or restrained with your Lash. You wind your Lash around your opponent, then spin them rapidly to discombobulate them. You release your opponent, sending them wobbling 10 feet in a direction of your choice. This is forced movement. Your opponent must succeed at a fortitude save against your class DC with the following effects. Failure. The target is confused until the end of their next turn. They are then temporarily immune to being confused or sickened by spinning release for 10 minutes, though the ability can still be used to move them. Critical failure. As failure, but the target is also sickened 1 from being spun around. I love this. This is a multi-purpose, useful mechanic. And again, moving people around. It's good. Next feat, level 16, Whirling Clobber. 3 actions, attack trait. Requirements, you have a creature grabbed or restrained with your Lash. After you've grasped a creature with your Lash, you swing them around like a whirling hammer, smashing them into all nearby enemies. Make a melee strike against each enemy within your melee reach. Your last attack must be against the grabbed creature, and you gain a circumstance bonus to your attack roll equal to the number of enemies you slammed them into, to a maximum of +3. Each attack counts toward your multiple attack penalty, but don't increase your penalty until you have made all your attacks. After your whirling clobber, you release the grabbed or restrained creature into an open square within reach of your Lash. Oh, this makes me so happy. So essentially you're using 3 actions to make up to 4 attacks and reposition somebody. Obviously it's useful. Obviously it's fucking funny. So this really surprised me. I thought that the Thlipit contestant would be just silly as hell, and I read the lore and I couldn't bring myself to prioritize this video over other archetypes or ancestries because it seemed just so silly. But then I realized you could use tentacles, or a tail, or maybe a whip, or prehensile hair. This is one of those archetypes that could fit different concepts that you already have. Like, you could make Indiana Jones with this because the shit he does with a whip can't happen in real life, but it can with this because magic. I know it's not technically magical, but it's a world of magic, and that's how you can do this shit. Yeah, this is cool. It's a good archetype. I'm not going to say everybody should take it, but if you are a sturdy individual, whether that's a caster or not, think about taking it. Because you might be able to save your friends from taking as much damage, and you might just add more utility to be able to move your friends around in combat. I appreciate you watching. I'm going to cover more Howl of the Wild stuff, because this is what I do. And remember, every Friday I have a live stream going on. This time we're actually in Ancient Osirian, and I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Shh, don't tell my players. And if you're a patron, thank you for joining me again. I appreciate all of you. And don't lick the microphone. That's not to you guys. I mean, you can lick the microphone all you want. That's fine. It's just for him. And if you want to see the rest of the series of Howl of the Wild, it'll be here. And over here will be build videos. Because they're good. Okay, thanks. Bye.